Good afternoon. Welcome on the Bridge 99 FM to the public eye. I'm Ronald Thwaites. Been doing this program, this kind of thing, for over 50 years now. And I'm joined by the veteran public servant, trade unionist, Minister of Government, the Honorable Pearnel Charles, Sr. as co-host. Sir, good day to you.
Ronnie, you just frightened me. How long you been in this thing?
52 years, sir.
I don't understand it, but you don't. You're not. You're a boy. You're a boy then.
Hardly, but yeah, I've been in legal practice for 52 years and in journalism for the same length of time.
Well, would I be wrong if I say, well, I've been in politics then since 1965, union and politics.
Yes. Well, I'm bowing because that is to climb the cross, you know, and you haven't come down, you haven't expired yet.
No, but a whole heap of thing in the cross, you know, including the thing you put on your head.
Indeed, the crown of thorns.
Crown of thorns.
Maybe people are watching you on the TV may say, well, you've had your version of that. Thanks for joining us on the Bridge 99 FM. This is a program we see where for 2 hours we talk about things Jamaican. We visit with people who have viewpoints about aspects of life here, and at the end of the day we want to lift up this extraordinary odyssey, this pilgrimage that we are on, special, different to any other nationality, we believe, of being Jamaican, of Jamaican origin, or attracted and connected in any way possible. The Bridge, of course, is a station that leaps out and reaches out particularly to people in the Jamaican diaspora. You can reach us on 99.1 3579 on the FM dial, and of course Instagram at the Bridge 99 FM and YouTube the Bridge 99 FM. There's an app. You can get it at the Google Play Store and at the Apple Store. And in the second hour of this program, we join with our sister station, Ira Jam Radio in New York, for the Global Connection with Erwin Clare. Well, I think that we have to start, Mr. Charles, on a theme that is going to interest and excite both of us, and that is today's International Women's Day.
Yes, and I heard somebody made a statement this morning. That the woman is in charge of the house, and she provided food, and she also provided children. It was interesting. But before we get into that, I'd like to tell you, I'm putting off my interview with a special person until next week.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you to get ready, because you're the special person.
Oh?
I have to interview you to get a little background of where you're from, your life, your parents.
My goodness.
Where were you born? I mean, they know all about me, but there are some of my friends who said, this Ronnie Thwaites that you're talking to sounds like a good person.
Oh.
Could you interview him and give us an idea where he's from?
Oh, Lord.
How many of them were born in the same home? And how did he go to school?
Yeah.
And so
dear. So, well, people of my complexion blush easily, you know. So
No. I tell you. This person like me, and I will tell you publicly, I have no problem with the color of your skin.
Yes.
So if you want to have Chinese restaurant, fine for me.
Yes.
If you want, in fact, what we don't have is black restaurant.
No.
But we have all the other restaurants.
Well, we have our local food, which is
also.
Yes,
well, we haven't claimed it. We haven't claimed it with anything.
Isn't that wonderful?
Well, of course, it's cool. It's wonderful.
It is a gift that we have to the rest of the world.
We have been able to live with it.
Absolutely.
And happy about it.
Hopefully, too.
To the point where we're advertising it.
Look at it.
That people come here and they can go over that one because they'll get some Chinese food. And they can go over there, they will get some African food and all of the other nations.
And we mix up.
Yeah, man, no. Don't call it mix up. It's, we're together.
Together in our differences, in our distinctiveness. Okay, well, thank you for that. I'll be happy to answer your questions. But the women know. Both of us are indebted to strong, wonderful mothers.
Ronnie, I would say more than you. Because the conditions under where I was born, I was happy with it because nothing further was exposed to me.
Yeah.
In other words, going to school 2 miles to get there by 9 o'clock. Or as teacher would say, line up to get 2 straps in your hand. And then at 12 o'clock, when school get out, you get back to your home, which is 2 miles. Get the little hot soup. Sometimes it don't cook, but you have to wait. and get back to school. That's 3 journey, and then you come back home.
I didn't realize that.
And this was barefoot, and this was parochial road, where the roadman would allow women to break the stone and men put it out, and the public would come and spray some tar on it.
Your foot bottom burn you.
No, but the foot bottom get caro.
Caro.
You know what that mean?
I know what that means.
You know the word?
Yes, sir.
It means it's cut. That it gets loose to the stones.
Yes.
When you walk on it, but sometimes you have 2 buck out toe.
Yeah.
And he said, but daddy, it's 2 of me 2 buck out, you know, so I can't go to school. So walk on your heel. Go school boy, I don't want you come like me.
Yeah. Look at that. But our mothers, in different ways, in different classes, circumstances, have been so formative. I'm referring to the quote that you gave a little earlier about what women do. In addition to our mothers, we both have exemplary wives.
Yes, but before we get to the wives, let me tell you, mothers in my life were not the one who produced me. Only. There were those who take care of me when mama gone to work, when she gone to church, who will go out to protect us.
Is that your
Auntie Di?
Your sister? Yes, you've told me about Auntie Di.
You follow me?
Yeah.
Those women, well, because the mothers had to go and work.
Sure.
Right, but they're going to the field or to the market or to what. But the old lady who stay home with you for you to behave yourself and cook and make a little eat.
But tell me now, with all of the advancement of women's rights and opportunities, have we underplayed that kind of person? The person who is, do we think of the homemaker as somehow an underachiever? When that person has been so formative, so seminal in the lives of children?
Well, some of us do. And I would never ever say that all of us have done it, because it is not true. Even to our natural mother, I've gone out in constituency where mother told me her boy is at a big job in New York or in Kingston and never hear from him. You remember the one I told you?
Yes.
I gave her money.
I do.
And come to town and look for the boy. And say, listen, I went to your yard last week, you know. And the state that I see that mother that make you in that position. He said, boss, a shame. I'm going on the next week. Right? And he went.
Good.
He went. The mother told me, say, the boy come.
The gift of motherhood amidst all of the other opportunities for women. And you look in the papers in Jamaica this morning and you see the pictures of all of these high flyers, these people who are women who are excelling in business in every aspect, in political life, in social life, all of these things. And as far as I'm concerned, bless all of them. Yes? But to be a good mother and to be a consistent partner are the highest virtues in my mind.
Yeah, but as I say, the first thing that happened to women is that they got equal education. In other words, education was to me.
But the
girl never got school, the boy got school.
But then isn't that again, we need,
It is education that put women where they are.
Sure. Amidst all of the criticisms that we rightly make on this program and elsewhere, the fact that Jamaica has equality of education for girls and boys nowadays. In fact, some would say the girls take in more education than the boys. That's great, that's a distinction for us.
Because the girls who get there, right, they seem to quiet down here, and the boy them still outside a ramp and run up and once a girl get bright,
in terms of education,
and start to talk in class, all girls want to do that,
Well, but hold on, that's a gift that we are giving to ourselves, and we must treasure that. But my anxiety is that the social disorder that we have in the society it can be traced in large measure to deficiencies in the family.
Yes, and majority of those who are involved are boys.
Well, look at that.
Men.
So the kernel of the family, I'm relying on the work of men like Professor Gale, the work of Mr. Siaga in his early research, and many others. Edith Clark, many others. The Barry Chavans, Errol Miller, the importance of mothers raising their children, fathers as well, but today's International Women's Day. Yes, the importance of them giving that every attention is something that we must not overlook or think that has no value or limited value, or that the maid or the street corner or the gang can take care of that.
You know, the first time I literally cried when I saw a woman doing a performance. What do you think it was?
What?
She had a baby that was so sick. As youths in the country, cola run out of him nose.
Yeah, suck it out.
And she put her mouth over the child's nose and extracted all that milk.
All the phlegm, yes.
And Ronnie, she didn't do it like...
No, it wasn't any great...
It's one
what
body.
Mothers do.
It's one body, like you have it in your mouth. And you understand?
Sure.
And so mothers, you can't pay for it.
But then let me ask you something. My own, or your opinion, my own view is that the biggest obstacle, the biggest hamper to women achieving their God-given potential is faithless men. When a woman take up with a man with the expectation of loyalty, with the and they bring children together, yes, and he, in whatever circumstances and for whatever reasons, disappears. Yes,
Ronnie,
she's in trouble, you know.
I have to admit, out in the field here for years, it is the mothers who have carried the children to school, pick them up, boil a little banana or whatever, it's there, and say that them get it. Sometimes the father don't come home. He hears him at the bar after him collecting liquor pay, whatever leave. All of that has happened. And it is not possible to pay women for what they have done for us.
But this morning, I was in the Vineyard Town area, and I saw separately 2 Rasta men, yes, with little tiny children, walking and taking them to school, one on the handlebar of his bicycle. Now, to me, that is a major contribution for International Women's Day.
Well, let me tell you about one. When I'm coming from tennis in the morning, it's as if he's always coming up Alliance Road, turn to go up with 2 girls and his motorbike. Well dressed, hair well combed, and I happened to stop at the red light one morning, and he had to stop. And I said, "Good morning, mommy and daddy," and them laugh, and the girls laugh. And somebody said to me, "I saw you talking to that Rasta man. It's every morning in pasture, you know, and go and pick up him, picnic them every evening." And guess what? No one around the yard, you know.
Really?
And him bathe them, comb them, and take them to school.
Good. Well,
I said, man,
you know, that reflects on him, but it also reflects on what is the important role of our women, our mothers. So we celebrate them today, and we give them thanks, and we give them the honor and the cherish.
And I like the way you say it, because as I said, it's not only the women who are mothers, mother and father, the children. Right? There are many other men who act the role of women. And not to say is any proportion that could detract anything from women.
But would you agree with me? Would you agree with me that I'm not laying responsibility entirely on government, but we need to check our thinking in this country and building back the family structure. It doesn't necessarily have to be the European family structure, but a structure where men and women combine to raise children, and where in the extended family circumstances you had the aunt die and whoever else who were prepared to who are able to help. Without that, all the anti-crime measures and all the $1 trillion budget can't take my swing, you know, Mr. Charles.
Well, let me tell you what my mother would say.
What would she say?
We won't behave ourselves, right? And she said, we must behave on ourselves. All right? And wait till the papa come. That alone, we could behave
yourself right now.
No. Where we need to start, or we should start, or part of the area we can start, in a Parent-Teachers Association. I have Parent-Teachers Association with 40 and 50 women, 2 men.
And that's unfair to the women. And so
it's not only unfair to women, the children.
To the children, sure. I heard a woman on BBC this morning, you see. They have a series there where women write to their daughters,
yes,
hypothetically.
Yes.
And this woman was writing, an African woman, writing to her daughter. And she said, apart from giving you life, the greatest gift that I could give to you is the love of your father. Yeah? Mm. Whoa. No, that's International Women's Day. Yes. And that's a woman who, in my view, excuse me, is celebrating her integrity because she recognizes the partnership that is appropriate, that is necessary, that is advantageous. And she speaks of her childhood where she didn't have a father's love. And to me, she should have get OJ like you, because no, seriously, because what she has done is and how many tens of thousands of women in Jamaica historically and presently do it, that despite flying on one wing, she raises a girl with the proper values, with the proper sentiments, girl or boy. That is heroic, you know.
But would you say that it was part of the country's situation? In other words, women seem to accept that their job is to make sure the house is made up, children get fed, clothes is washed, father.
Yeah, but there's too much burden.
But she was more than a burden for her, you know.
Yeah, yes.
Thinking now what all a woman have to do.
Sure.
And as you have said, well, if I tell you what happened to me Sunday, I told her I go and tell you, but I can't tell it on the air. She decided she's going to clean her place. And I decided to cook.
was it? She would have cleaned up the place very well, but was what you edible?
Here the joke. When she come in and I bake potato, fix everything, and put down plate and knife and fork, she laugh and say, "You're learning."
But you see, no, but there's a merit in that, you know.
But hold on now.
Yeah.
I said to her, "Listen, tell me how it tastes." She says, "Remember, says half of what I cook, you warm up, you know." So but as I go and tell Ronnie, and I go and tell him on the ear, like other people here, say, "I cook Sunday dinner for you."
Even though half of it is warm up. Pearnel Charles, you're something else.
But
you're
Ronnie,
vintage Jamaican.
But to come to the point, though, I think I want to make an appeal to certain men. Because I don't think we consider that it's a responsibility. There's some of us just take it, so well, the woman died, she's taking care of the pin to them. She said that them clean, said them get food, me go put on look at thing and go and look next woman. I think that some men, and I'm unfortunate you made a point a while ago, which I have to agree with, this culture of Rasta. The Rasta man is not that, you know.
But for me, he's a highly spiritual person.
Well, so is it spiritualism
and what he has done,
that the rest of us don't have?
No. What he has done is that he has emancipated himself from mental slavery, and it is the legacy, the terrible, evil legacy of slavery that makes us believe that the slave or the order of the slave society, where all a man do for the most part was breed a woman,
drop the baby and
gone back to the field by force,
and drop another baby somewhere.
Yes, and where in Barbados you could actually get your freedom if you drop enough baby after the slave trade was abolished. We need to emancipate ourselves from that. But when I try to say this to young men, they don't easily take it because that's not the culture. And sometimes when you say it to girls, unfortunately, they don't have that same consciousness, not recognizing that if they proceed along the path that their bodies are urging them to do, they're going to suffer, and worse than that. If you want to make yourself suffer is one thing, you know, but you must not visit your suffering upon somebody else.
Yeah, but brother, would you say that there needs to be a cultural change?
Of course.
That's what I'm saying. Because of what has been there so long, it becomes a part of our culture. The man don't believe that he's to reach home before the wife.
But you can't.
Not all men do. Not all men.
No, but you can't build a society of wholesome people on that, and that is the root of a lot of our problems.
How are you going to seek a change? What lane are you going to go in?
I think you have to show example.
Where are we going to seek?
I think you have to show example, yes, more than preach. And I think you have we have to emphasize health and family life in our schools, and our leaders have a tremendous onus. For the first time, no, I wouldn't say for the first time, but no, right now, we have two political leaders, Mr. Holness and Mrs. Holness, Mr. Golding and Mrs. Golding, who have, as far as we see, strong, affectionate family lives. That's very important, you know.
Yes.
It's not to reflect on anybody else, but it's for them to say, listen, in the midst of all of the trials that everybody has, here it is, we're trying to make a life. We're keeping relationships going. And we see this as being important. We're not boasting, but what we're saying is that this is important to us. Why not try it?
But that's why
this
you
is
call
a
it,
standard.
that's why you want to call it family life.
Yeah.
Because it's not everybody has a family. Mm-hmm. It's not everybody work towards a family. Mm-hmm. In other words, some people who have not a biological family has gone out to take in some.
Wonderful.
And
more blessed.
Well with it. Do well with it.
More blessed. No, we were, time is running out on this segment, but when we were talking about the budget yesterday, the presentation, Finance Minister Clark spoke about the importance of open spaces and parks and so on, especially in rundown areas, and he's perfectly right. Yes, but we have a balance, because what we need to be doing, having places of recreation and of contemplation, are vitally important. Yes, I wish I had done more of that when I had political responsibilities. But even of greater responsibility, we cannot have a situation where you have teenagers and can't find a place to lie down except in a bed with two other people. Yeah. Where our inner cities are not getting the investment. Yes? It is.
Ronnie, hold on now. You and many of us.
We have to finish the point and then
you and many of us believe that this should be around the governance of the country.
Yeah, they have
the leadership, the political leadership.
It's $1 trillion them taking out of our pockets, you know.
But the church.
Church, absolutely.
It's easier to get into church and find a man and his wife come to church and carry the children.
Oh my.
And
so
I
important.
Think, but I think that we need to more to emphasize that.
I grant you. Equally.
Because it's easier, Ronnie.
Yes.
It's easier to see daddy and the boy hold him hand, mommy and the two girls.
Plenty of the children in my church, they come to Sunday school, but the parents don't come to church.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. Yes. So maybe we say that parents, you know, one of the things that my mother did, she make sure, you know, maybe it's on the Sabbath evening and prayer in the morning. Yeah. But you make sure you wake up, wash your face, and go kneel down. Yeah. Cause daddy, and she call on daddy for prayer.
Yes. And look at that now and see how you come out. That's it for the banter and the comment that we give on the public eye every week. When we come back, Ambassador Curtis Ward, veteran diplomatic representative for Jamaica, talks about the recent diaspora council elections and how the diaspora can better affect and be affected by their relationship with Jamaica. This is the public eye on the bridge. We soon come. Welcome, Ambassador Curtis Ward.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Happy to have you with us. The Honorable Pearnel Charles is the co-host, and he's greeting you also.
Yeah, you know, before I get into this program, if you may permit me, I'd like to inform the Honorable Pearnel Charles Sr. that I have a recording of a speech he gave at Howard University many moons ago.
Wow. What?
I would like to know what I was saying in the 50s. I show my colleague some of the writings that it was done in the late 60s. He said, but is the same thing happening now?
No. Is there a date or even an approximate date when that speech was made?
Oh my God. You know, I have the tape and I've actually told Pearnel Charles Jr. about it.
Okay.
And I have promised to make a copy.
Copy.
It's on regular tape. It's not like on a CD that you can just...
Okay, understood. When you get it, we'll be glad to have it because we need to hold him to his word, you know. Ambassador Ward.
Absolutely.
Ambassador Ward, we on this program, and particularly through this station, are most anxious to do everything possible to improve, extend, solidify the bonding between Jamaicans in the diaspora and our home. I long for the day when every remittance that a Jamaican makes, Pearnel, to back here, the $3 billion US dollars.
And I heard the minister praise him yesterday.
Well, but it's going in the wrong direction. Actually, it's going down. But he did praise him, and rightly so. I want them to put at least 5% in savings rather than just consumption. Can you imagine what that would do to the accretion of domestic capital? Never mind. The Diaspora Council, Ambassador Ward, is vital to that overall objective. How does it function? What has the recent election shown us? How should we improve that particular mechanism? And more broadly, your thoughts on the matter.
Well, first of all, I think the structure and operation of the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council was not properly thought through. When it was first established 3 years ago, something like 7 of the 21 members were elected by the diaspora, and there are 14 members were appointed by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. In addition to that, the Minister chairs the Diaspora Council. The impression given to many in the diaspora that it was not representative of the diaspora. And in the 3 years it has been in existence, that sentiment has grown significantly. There hasn't been any consultation, I shouldn't say any, but any broad consultation with members of diaspora leadership. Many of us went ahead and supported the council and the candidates that were elected 3 years ago. What we found, however, is that many of the people who presented themselves as candidates were very unknown throughout the diaspora community. These people did not have a track record of working with community organizations or being engaged within the community so that their track record would have been known.
Yeah.
Many of them were elected based on their CVs, their bios that they presented over the internet and so on. But having done that 3 years ago, with the most recent election, it is very clear that the broad, the broad population within the diaspora have decided that this is a waste of time.
How do you come to that conclusion?
Well, the election process lasted for about 4 months. Between when the registration to be eligible to vote and when the voting actually takes place. While the conservative estimate is that there are 3 million Jamaicans living in the diaspora, other estimates put it as high as 5 million. Northeast United States, for example, has about 1 million Jamaicans living in the diaspora.
Yeah.
Maybe much more than that, maybe twice as much. And yet only 91 members of the diaspora voted in the last election.
No, sorry, sir. 9-1?
9-1.
9 less than 100 of that number voted?
91 members of the diaspora voted to elect the Northeast Diaspora representative.
You know,
if that is not a rejection of the council, then I can't think of anything else.
I'm ashamed.
In the UK, with three different regions represented, the total votes were less than 200.
Probably, Mr. Ward, is the way we put the voters list. How do you put a voters list together? How do you invite Jamaicans to come where and vote where and how? Could it be administration that caused the problem?
That could be a problem, but like I said, the process started in October, inviting members of the diaspora to register online.
Yeah, but where would they register? Was it a government agent?
I don't know the numbers of those who registered. So I have to go by those who voted, those who actually voted. And
but even if it
I
is
hear all kinds of stories.
Even if it
I can guarantee you.
Go ahead.
I've been in this diaspora many years. As I just indicated to the Honorable Pearnel Charles Sr., I recorded him about 50 years ago. And I could not identify any of the individuals except one.
Who are the candidates?
The 3 candidates in the United States that were elected.
Okay, sir. But even if the problem is administrative, Pearnel.
I think it's administrative.
But even if it but even if it is, that should have been fixed long ago. Because this, you see, what I'm anxious for Ambassador Ward to help us with, maybe I have this exaggerated notion of the importance of the Diaspora Council. Because my view of Jamaica is that we are a country without borders. In as much as we can possibly craft that, and that the continuation, the increased insertion of Jamaican interest, engagement, investment, everything in our navel string connection with our diaspora is not an option. It is absolutely vital to the growth of our economy and the wholesomeness of our society.
Could we add?
Absolutely correct. Sorry, go ahead.
Could we add that? If I were overseas and I hear that I must join a council, I would first ask, for what? What's going to be my connection? What's going to be my contribution? Where I'm going to go? Who's going to be with me? Who I'm going to go to?
Who organizes those things? The Ministry of Foreign Affairs?
I'm not sure.
Foreign Affairs. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
But and again, if the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is organizing the thing according to government association, and you understand, you agree, some is going to be attracted to it and some are not going to be attracted to it.
No, but then we have to do it in a different way.
You have to do it in a way that everybody...
Well, I think that's a nub of Ambassador Ward's point,
yes.
That the way the thing has been conceived and structured is producing the kind of anemic results that he's reporting, the statistics. However it happened, but we can't continue this. Ambassador Ward, what ought to be done?
Well, the diaspora policy, which was drafted and presented on March 3rd, 2020, is now 3 years old. And when I reviewed that policy recently, I could not see where any of it is being implemented. I don't see the necessary legislation referred to in the policy that should be presented in Parliament and adopted. And one thing Jamaica and Jamaicans are very good at, all of us Jamaicans, is writing. We know how to draft a document and make it sound great. Our problem is implementation. And we have an implementation deficit, certainly with the diaspora policy. And what most folks are saying is that the enthusiasm in the diaspora, which exists and is practiced every day for doing things with Jamaica, is not being harnessed. The organizations across the United States, in the various communities, most of them are engaged in some kind of initiative in Jamaica, some large, some small. I think at the beginning there was reference to the remittances.
Yeah.
For the past couple of years, remittances have grown to over $3 billion US.
Well, when I heard the minister said yesterday that Jamaica actually was survived by remittance from Jamaicans abroad.
Sure.
I mean, I felt.
So I want to know that
what have we done for them or with them to set this?
Absolutely. So this interview is crucial because really we need to be clear what ought to be done and what ought not to be done. Allow me, Ambassador Ward. The first thing is that diaspora business is not party politics business. You hear so?
I agree totally.
Yeah, because people
and you know, this is one of the things that we try to state and restate time and time again.
Mm-hmm.
When you are abroad, certainly you have your sentiments toward either political party or none at all. But when we are dealing with Jamaica and what is best for Jamaica, we put Jamaica first.
Absolutely, sir.
That is what we do. I always say our party politics ended, which it really doesn't, but it should end when we board that plane,
when the plane take off,
to travel abroad and live abroad. And we practice as Jamaican. When Jamaican community organizations are established across the U.S., you have members of both political parties participating in these organizations.
Yeah.
And the programs that they do for Jamaica, when they come down there on a medical mission, you think they ask with JLP or PNP?
Of course not.
No, they don't. They serve everybody who turn up. And when they help children in school with books, with school fees, with transportation, you name it, with computers and tablets, they don't ask if it's a JLP school or a PNP school.
No. Ambassador, let me disturb you. All three of us know that there's something extremely strong in Jamaica called political culture. It doesn't matter what you want to say or what I want to say. I'm going to look who's government over there, whether I want to associate with them, whether I want to get them. And this is going to look over to say, who are we bringing in? Are they going to be with us? Or that is a political culture that is not going away with. It should go away. So it's not going that way. So we must find a way around it. Mm-hmm. There must be a way how you can put a body that attracts Canada, United Kingdom, United States, Jamaicans, all there, and they can feel comfortable with associating.
Indeed, but how do you do that? Because what Ambassador Ward reports is what you and I know, that the associations and the people generally in the diaspora, they come together and they don't have any too much ism and schism. Now, if to choose them, we need to mobilize people and register them and encourage them to vote, then we have other institutions than the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which I imagine has all kinds of other preoccupations. We can do it a different way, can't we?
Well, Randy, when they come to Jamaica to have a diaspora, conference. And I don't know, PNP and JLP. So it's a whole group of people who are living from overseas and they're greeting and loving.
Well,
how do you get that together in an organized, documentary way?
Let me say this. First of all, I think the council needs to be revisited. Certainly, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs should provide administrative support to the council.
Yes.
But the Minister of Foreign Affairs should not be running the council.
Clearly.
And
have a majority of nominations.
Chairing the council.
Awesome.
Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is, the diaspora policy has some very good elements in there. But I don't believe most people are familiar with it. It's a 48-page document with lots of addendum and so on. Every ministry, every minister should read the policy, because it involves many ministries, but it is not being understood, it is not being read, and I guarantee you, over 95% of members of the diaspora have never seen the policy.
Okay.
Well, I don't want to embarrass myself.
Well,
don't ask me if I've ever read it.
I saw it. I had to see it when because the educational system, when I had some responsibility. Still, always we are heavily dependent upon diaspora support. Yes, the schools would barely function if the diaspora didn't support them the way they do. So should there be some kind of separate body, Ambassador Ward, that is given particular responsibility, a parliamentary commission maybe for diaspora affairs, and then they can work with the electoral commission or whoever else, the embassies, consulates, to divvy up support, registration, election?
You know, some countries have a Ministry of Diaspora Affairs. Some countries do. Jamaica has a Minister of State, excuse me, within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Yes. Who's a good person, but he can't manage what is there.
Portfolio.
The Minister of State and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honourable Leslie Campbell.
Yeah.
I vouch for him.
Yes.
But I think he has straw basket to carry water.
Why is that?
No, because because the ministry, as I understand it, does not have the capacity and ought not to have the responsibility of being in charge of diaspora affairs in the way that it does. It has to divest that responsibility to members of the diaspora themselves.
Yeah, but we're not in charge of diaspora overseas. But there must be a Jamaican body that is where the government comes in.
So when we come back from the short break, Ambassador Ward, tell us if you can. Give us just a snapshot of a structure. This program has largely a diaspora audience, and we really want to have some kind of idea that we can keep pushing and put forward for better relations with the diaspora. Soon come. This is The Public Eye on The Bridge. Talking with Ambassador Curtis Ward, experienced Jamaican diplomat, about how we might better organize our relations with the Jamaican diaspora everywhere and anywhere. Ambassador Ward, a few pithy suggestions, please, sir.
Let me put this on the table. As indicated earlier, the diaspora remit over $3 billion US. Now, many folks say, well, that is usually consumed by the recipients. Okay. But none of the recipients receive foreign currency when they go to pick up the remittance sent to them.
Yes.
They receive Jamaican dollars.
Uh-huh.
And the US dollars, the British pound, the Canadian dollars, etc.
Similar.
Go to the Bank of Jamaica to build its national reserve. Now, what is that money used for? I don't have to spell that out.
No.
Because we all know that. At the same time, the consumers receiving the remittances are spending that money as soon as they get it. So it enters the Jamaican economy. And it supports manufacturing, it supports the agricultural sector, it supports the retail sector, it pays school fees, it buys books, everything, you name it. It puts food on the table and so on. But all that money goes right into the economy. There was a study some years ago, in 2017, I believe it was, by Capri, that diaspora contributes at least 15% to Jamaica's GDP. And when you look at the economic impact, it could be as much as 35%.
I believe.
I'm saying all this to suggest this. Tourism is considered the largest earner of foreign exchange for Jamaica. The fact of the matter is, a large percentage of tourist
money don't stay in Jamaica, so
do not stay in Jamaica.
No, the diaspora money stay in Jamaica.
Exactly, and yet, the government has a Jamaica Tourist Board.
Yeah, wholly put infrastructure for tourism, but none for the diaspora. Got your point entirely.
This is where I'm coming from.
And this is important information.
Because I believe that in order to really show the importance of the diaspora and to make it work even more effectively for Jamaica, more engagement, is to establish a diaspora board, a Jamaica Diaspora Board, something like the Jamaica Tourist Board.
Yes, okay.
And I don't want to hear about cost, because $3 billion of foreign exchange staying in Jamaica is more than what tourism stays.
Of course.
Income stays in Jamaica.
Not 50% of tourism stays in money stays in Jamaica.
The other thing is, on that board should be members representative of the diaspora, as well as local members. And again, I don't want to hear people telling me that Jamaicans abroad cannot participate in boards in Jamaica, because COVID has shown us.
No, that's nonsense. The technology has overtaken that argument.
Together in a conference room anymore.
Yeah, look at this program.
Okay? So that argument is no hogwash. So members abroad don't have to travel to Jamaica. In the diaspora policy, they talk about participation in governance. I've seen no legislation to suggest any participation in governance. And governance includes serving on statutory boards.
Yes.
So I want to see not only a board
for the diaspora,
to the first board established, and including Jamaicans in the diaspora, representing the various areas of the diaspora. And that will be far more effective than this Global Jamaica Diaspora Council.
Got you. Ambassador Ward, time is running out on us. I think we've got the majority of the views you have there. Pearnel, Charles wanted to raise something from a previous interview with you in the 2 minutes we have before we part. Let's just change gears. Pearnel?
Ambassador, you convinced me when you made a statement about the police finding a lot of guns in Jamaica, but there were no arrests. And I not only question it, but the nation questioned it because of your statement. And the police made a statement that convinced me. They said that my feeling, which was like yours, is old-time policing. They said that they wouldn't take any chance, put up any camera or any protectors around those guns, because if one get out, there's one too many. And so they were safer holding on to those guns and searching for the people. I felt that the technology could say, anybody who comes here could see them. They said, but we couldn't hold them either, unless if we are there. So there was a problem. So I don't know to tell you that they had an answer that it is old-time way, new policing, and they will get there.
Ambassador Ward, hold on a minute. We need to take a time signal. Coming right back for your response. Ambassador Ward, are you remembering that discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me just say this. What they're saying is an excuse rather than reality. Because, first of all, they can disarm all of those guns. Even if they were to leave all of them in the package or in the case or the barrel or wherever it is, they can replace them with guns that won't function. And with all the guns they are seizing, they have the capacity to re-engineer them, to replace them in these packages. So when the culprits pick them up, okay, they will have enough on them to prosecute them. So I don't accept that.
But you don't know where the culprit is. Sometimes the culprit is right. It's the people who accept it in station. You don't know whether they are at the port.
But the end product is we haven't solved the gun problem, haven't we?
No, but at least we took 100 gun off the street.
Yes. Okay.
And if you multiply 100 gun by even one person.
Well, yes, but Mr. Ambassador Ward has a way of doing it which still opens the possibility. I hope that one day. Go ahead.
If I may interject, I also heard some report, I didn't read it, somebody said it, that there's an estimated 5,000 guns being shipped to Jamaica every year or something, some high number like that. And then the government, the police say that they seized 500. What happened to that 4,500?
Well, this is the point. They were there. There's many as they see it.
What the police say is so, but what the other person say not necessarily so.
Well, no, but you will know that there are wholly begun out there.
I don't know.
No, I know that, but the police said 500 off. I can't say 5,000 come.
No, but what we...
Could be 10,000 too.
God help
us. Could be 1,000.
Ambassador, thank you. We've cleared up this one, I think, as best we can. Much obliged for your company, sir, and we thank you for your suggestions regarding diaspora
and you keep my recording until I come and look for you.
One again. Thank you.
And I'm going to find it and know it.
Very good. Ambassador Curtis Ward, retired ambassador of Jamaica to the United Nations and commentator on public affairs, particularly to do with the diaspora. This is the Public Eye on the Bridge with Pearnel, Charles and myself. We soon come back. Thanks for being with us on the Global Connection or on the Public Eye on the Bridge 99 FM, linking with our friend Erwin Clare at Ira Jam in New York. Hello, Erwin.
Yes, we're here, sir.
Happy to have you.
And happy to be hearing you too, sir, and along with the chief.
The chief is here. He's in good shape. He's being chiefly.
Well, you're listening to our last commentary.
In fact, I'd like to make a statement on that because Ambassador Ward is on point. I'd go one step further. And I like the idea about that tour JTB style board. The other thing here, the other apathy that folks had to this whole elections they had recently is this. I don't think that we are ready to be voting for any advisory board members, gentlemen. And the reason I say is this, is that we first should look at the real stakeholders of Jamaica as it is today. And the real stakeholders are Jamaicans who find themselves in organizations, are atop of what's taking place in Jamaica, and have found them and have organized themselves to become a force. I've always argued that before we go to the average person on the streets to vote for persons who they don't know anything about, or even don't know what the diaspora policy is to look to the organization. We have a plethora of Jamaican organizations here in the diaspora. And these are organizations that are registered, certified, and all that would need to be done is for them to be registered with the consulate. The organizations select representation to the board. And then we use that to build capacity amongst the average folks on the street as to what this whole diaspora thing is. Because you'll find that 90% of the folks don't know what we're talking about, but I tell you that more than 70% of the organizations do know what this whole diaspora thing is.
What will be the difference, Erwin? If you have 6 organizations in New York, 10 in Canada, 5 in America, that's say what?
But you see the difference 21. Is that the difference is this is that we have over 150 organizations here in the New York tri-state area.
Okay,
that would represent in excess of near 100,000 persons.
Yeah, but do you have a representative of groups, not necessarily from every organization, but from every county. 10 from Canada, 5 from New York, America, and 5 from 10 from. But there are other people all over the world.
And those persons will then step up to the plate. There's a category for that, but it's the organizations that leads this because they're the ones who are top of things taking place and are in a better position to provide some semblance of representation. Because even right now, the folks who are elected, so-called, were elected by, there are more people who went to church Sunday morning in the smallest of churches than who voted. So this
frankly, if I were elected in those circumstances, I would decline to serve, because you're not representing anybody except yourself.
Well,
that's just wrong.
I have said, and I've said this on public, is that if the minister seeks someone to give her advice, I'm quite certain that her consul generals, her ambassador and deputy consul generals can identify influences in the community and provide such. That's basically what it is.
Okay, there's a certain hiccup that we all would have, that the vote is being restricted from the ordinary person. But I take it that certainly on an interim basis, while you build momentum and engage other people, if you can call upon the organizations to provide more zest, more zeal, more passion than is presently the case.
Could the organization?
Why not?
Could the organization externally to the government of Jamaica operate without, some sort of
the government of Jamaica? No, they must certainly supervise. Sure, must certainly supervise, but they must not control in the way that Ambassador Ward outlined. That is just gauche.
And at the same token, the individuals so-called who are elected, they have to find the resources to manage all the things that are expected of them.
Erwin, somebody called me a while ago and said the money that we're talking about, diaspora money to come to Jamaica, is all money sent from family to friends to investment to this, and it actually reached the government in an exchange.
Not all. My understanding
is there a government situation where investors
if Auntie Rochi comes from New York,
yes,
with $1,000 in her bosom,
yes,
and hands it to somebody in Lime Tree Gardens,
yes,
that is American dollars that doesn't reach government at all.
Does it who?
Doesn't reach government.
Of course it reaches government, because the person in Lime Tree Garden who get it has to go to Brownstone and change it.
Or yes, okay, in that way.
And it gets right
and
back to the
goods and services.
Oh, of course,
taxes.
I'm not saying it's not of any benefit, but the money that comes through Post Office or Bill Express or Western Union, that money is tracked. And I believe that is the sum total of that is what Minister Clark was speaking about. And during the time when COVID, when there was limited travel, of course, more of the money came through that route, the official route than through personal carrying it.
Correct. Yes. That is true.
But it's not money that come to the government.
No. But it helps to alleviate some of the things. It helps to alleviate some of the challenges.
It's stabilizing.
Government.
Sir, gentlemen.
It does.
There is strong economic viewpoint now that the Jamaican dollar, sadly to say, is overvalued. And what keeps it at the level it is this kind of money coming in.
Yes. So we must say it that way, because the man that's called me to say more money must come to family and friends and investment, buy house, buy this, give that, rather than make it sound as if it coming to the government.
No, agreed entirely.
But I still have to agree, Randy, that it gets back in the exchange formula into the Bank of Jamaica,
that's
where it really helps Jamaica.
Helps in net international reserves. But it is so critical that we set a target. Let me be presumptuous. We need to triple that $3 billion within the next 10 years.
But we can do it, but you see, the point is this.
How we can do that?
To make money, you must invest. You cannot just sit back and say we need to triple it. We must invest. And one of the areas, as Mr. Ambassador Ward would have mentioned, we need to set up the kind of infrastructure that lends confidence to those in the diaspora who are the source, that yes, indeed, that we are not just it's not just a one-way scenario, but there's a partnership, and by extension the infrastructure, similar infrastructure you have for tourism on all the other situations, there must be a semblance of infrastructure for the sort.
Look here, Jamaicans abroad want the following. They want to save for house, for education, okay,
take care of them family,
take care of the family as old age pension, and very important for for funeral. Okay, and we must develop our financial institutions, Erwin Clare, must develop the products where people can say, I'm sending my children or my baby mother $500, but please take 50 of it and invest it in this fund for that purpose. Okay, supported by a debit card so I can get it back when I need it, and then the 450 goes to pay for school fees, etc. Another big, among the four I mentioned, I should have added education. That's
somebody
very
want
important.
me to ask you, Norwin, if the government says we are going to build houses for diaspora, we put towards 500 acres of land, we're going to put up 100 houses that can only be
First priority.
Could that work?
Why not?
It could work, but you see, before we get there, we have to build capacities of
you have the organization and the family situation. Erwin, you and I know some of the problem with family thing.
But the capacity you're speaking about means, what do you mean by that?
The capacity of trust.
Trust, Lord, and that.
There you go. There you go.
That's
you see, so that's what I'm saying. No.
That's not trust against water, it's trust against blood.
Yeah.
Because water like me have to intervene and several times between blood and blood.
You said it more colorful. Okay. The thing is, and that's why I go back to this thing, gentlemen, is that we spoke about the diaspora policy, and I, like many others, don't know much what's in the diaspora policy. All right, I try asking some persons who should know, and they themselves didn't come forth with it, and that's basically what it is. And there are those who will say that by now, because this is probably 10 years in the making, that diaspora policy might be outdated. The point is this, is that we have to put in an infrastructure, and I go back to what Ambassador Ward says. When we're serious about the diaspora is when that kind of infrastructure is put in place. And then you'll see bigger things happening, because the same type of marketing thrust that is required, and not just a press release, would then be in place to augment the process and bring us home that extra $2 billion or extra $3 billion.
Erwin, I want you to tell me what kind of attraction the Jamaican, not necessarily Jamaican, but private sector. I haven't heard the voice. The private sector, what kind of investment they could be putting in to invite diaspora people to come in. Diaspora people probably more attracted to that thought than to the Jamaica Labour Party or PLP government.
House, education,
right?
Health, and funerals.
So we are leaving out the neutral investor.
No, you're including him.
No.
He becomes center stage. And I would put...
So we have been moving on.
Yes, we have been. Got you.
Bring that. And a better advisor than we are.
Yeah. Erwin, my suggestion would be that we have many prominent business persons of great integrity who are connected with the diaspora. Yes. I'm speaking about the building societies, the remittance companies, etc. And if they came together and constituted a diaspora council, some social agencies, and as Ambassador Ward says, included people from diaspora organizations, which have, you could rotate that, you could make sure everybody got a talk.
And maybe more attractive too.
Yeah. And if you had that guiding that policy and executing it, then you go to people and say, well, look, now there's an IPO, or there's a Pearnel suggestion, a housing scheme, whatever it is. You come. This is what we recommend. You would build what I'm picking up from you now. You would build the capacity, wouldn't you? You'd build the trust.
Indeed, and that's what's required. Trust, gentlemen. We're up on our break.
Yes.
And we can't trust this time. We have to pay for it. So
come. All the best.
Sure.
Good.
You're listening to the Global Link here. The Global Connection, rather, where we connect with our brothers in Jamaica, notably Honorable Pearnel Charles and Reverend Ronald Thwaites, and we're waiting to connect with them. As we do so, just want to remind our listeners that this year Irie Jam celebrates 30 years, and for that we are obligated in ensuring that we continue to do what we do here.
Well,
so
we share the congratulations for 30 years, and we want to follow back at you. And,
don't buck it too.
No. Pearnel, do that. And
I can't say because you may say right side of you.
All right, okay. So,
and we're pleased to welcome our guest, Mrs. Phelisa Ricketts-Graham. Hello, ma'am. How are you? Welcome to the Public Eye and to the International Connection on Ira Jam.
And before she starts, we must also say she's a graduate of Westwood High School down in Trelawney.
You still, Mrs. Graham, you still have your hat?
The straw hat. Is she on?
Not yet. Westwood girls are very proud hat wearers. You know, it used to be more ubiquitous among high school girls in Jamaica, but it's only Westwood now.
Westwood continue to wear it, eh?
Breeze and cool air in Stewarttown, you know, anything can happen.
Is she on yet?
Hello, Miss Phelisa.
No, we're not.
Why is she not taking a little time to get?
Good afternoon. I'm right here.
All right. Isn't that nice? Hello, ma'am. Thank you very much for joining us, Mrs. Phelisa Ricketts-Graham, an educator going to tell us her story. The Honorable Pearnel Charles and Erwin Clare and myself are all ears. First of all, happy International Women's Day, Mrs. Graham.
Thank you so much, Reverend Ronald Thwaites. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. It's my pleasure, and Honorable Pearnel Charles. I'm happy to be here.
Well, Mrs. Graham, if you ever make Ronnie and Erwin hear that you come anywhere from Senton, and that mean you'd be a Ricketts, and I am part of the Ricketts, they would put me off the show because they are so jealous when they hear these things.
Listen
so please, if it's true, don't say it.
What we can, what family is actually from St. Anne, so
oh God. See that no Aaron.
All right.
What?
It done. So why don't we look at this highlight here? And I look at this highlight, especially in light of the whole teacher situation taking place in Jamaica, and on today, it being International Women's Day. You were once the youngest school principal at 23 years old in Jamaica.
Really?
And that is something of a significant distinction.
How that happened, ma'am? Tell us the story.
So 2 years ago, when I was 23 years old, it's actually going 3 years now, I actually started a school, Western STEM Academy, which is an international online academy in Jamaica. We do have face-to-face now, but we were online only then, just because of my passion for education. So I was teaching. Actually, I was teaching for a few years, and I realized that we could really do a little better with STEM education in Jamaica. So that's my passion, just continuing the trajectory in terms of excellence in education.
What is STEM education, though? What does it comprise?
So Western STEM Academy basically is comprised of an early childhood academy, a preparatory school academy, and a high school academy. So it's a full-time based school, but our focus is STEM. So how can we integrate science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in all subject areas at all levels to ensure that our students have excellent education?
Okay. Now, Erwin, you know that many students in Jamaica are not as strong in the mathematical tradition as they should, which of course is at the center, the hub of STEM education. What have you found, Ms. Phelisa? Can you help them to make up that? We have a national concern that you may be able to help remedy.
Yes, sir. So that's the same thing that we have been realizing, that the performance in mathematics and science, it has been so low. And there has been several interventions from the Ministry of Education from as far back as we can imagine. So I remember even when I was in college, we actually got a special scholarship for mathematics and science students. I think it was the first year of its resumption back in 2015. It was actually the minister. So I've seen the intervention. However, there are so many more things that we can do. So, the performance has been so realizing with this approach, developing that passion for science, passion for technology, technology, students doing robotic and coding from grade 1 from garden. We realized that they love it and they actually do really well. So our students are getting averages in the 90s. Students are in science-based areas. So it can be better.
Indeed. Let me ask you this. We have seen where the introduction of robotics in school is bringing into fore more young men being involved. Isn't it about getting these type of activities that will stimulate that interest for the mathematics and science is one of the platforms that we should be looking at?
Definitely. We have to bring in these. We have to bring in robotics to our students. And in addition to robotics, we see the big thing that's happening right now with artificial intelligence, where ChatGPT is a tool, well, a lot of AI tools that are really making life easy and advancing technology in our everyday lives. So we cannot continue to teach our students as how we usually teach a few years. We have to get with the times. So when we introduce robotics, artificial intelligence, coding, software development, we realize that our students are now even more marketable on the international space.
No, wait, no. Help me though. You know, I'm agreeing with everything you're saying. But Ms. Phelisa, Erwin, our problem is basic mathematics. We have more than a half of the children in our schools who are one grade or several grades behind in their mathematical achievement. When you talk about robotics and artificial intelligence in that context, can we do first things first?
Yeah, but you can't stop those who are going.
No, not to stop those who are able.
So the robotics and the thing to pick up that thing, because the world is moving in that direction, so we have to follow them.
One of the things, I was privileged several years ago to bring the first robotics kit to York Castle, and we have seen the progress since then. All right, and what I was told was that those children who had issues with science and mathematics, the whole aspect, the whole situation about robotics, which showed how mathematics and science was part of this whole process, was one of the things that engendered other young men to become even more involved in the science and mathematics, because they could see the practicality of it.
I see.
It is from that perspective.
Yes.
Okay, I understand. What's your experience, teacher?
It's the same thing. Once you bring these hands-on modes of learning, so the challenge we're having that I also realize in my experience teaching is we have this chalk and talk method. So I come to class and I write 2 + 2 = 4. And we expect that the students are going to sort it. But you have to start using different learning kits, hands-on modes of learning. So you literally show them, when you add 2 things here and you add 2 more, what do you get? And then they start counting. So I understand totally, because we have to get to basics, and that's what we're doing. But we're using this in terms of the robotics, as Sir just said earlier. When you introduce the robotics to them and the artificial intelligence, it's more becoming real life. So you're taking it off the board and bringing it into reality, and that's what actually excites them.
Where did you learn all of this? Because not all teachers have the same sensitive approach that you do. What's your educational background, ma'am?
So right now, I actually studied at Church Teachers College. That's where I studied. I did my first degree there, and my master's. I'm actually working on 2 masters right now.
Really?
I'm doing 1. Yes, sir. So I'm doing 1 with the University of West Indies and 1 online.
We were teasing you about your Westwood hat before you came on the air. Tell us about that experience.
No,
yes.
It's not we. It was running, not we.
No. I was interested also to find out where in St. Anne she comes from.
Yes, good. Yeah. So you're a Westwood girl?
Yes, I'm actually from Trelawney, but my father's family is from St. Anne. I'm a Westwood girl. Went to Westwood for 5 years, and it has been the best 5 years of my life.
No, listen to that. Excellent.
Let me ask you this. It is said here that sometimes in people's lives, adversity has a way of effectuating how we deal with where we are today. Yes. What was your upbringing like, and what impact it has on where you are today?
So my upbringing was a very rough one. I actually grew up without any parental support. My father died when I was 7, And my mother, she developed a mental illness shortly after. So she was like on the streets, begging persons. And that really did something to me. And I started living with my grandmother, who tried her very best to take care of me. But I still struggled because I was always looking for support. We didn't have electricity. We didn't have running water. You know, we didn't even have like inside bathroom or kitchen or anything like that. You know, it was like way up into the country area, really poor. But I was determined to make something of myself, to come out of that lifestyle where I could, you know, be a positive role model to the persons who were there with me, and to even show my grandmother and my teachers that, guess what? Your investment is not in vain then. I can really use whatever you're giving me, the little that you're giving me. I want to use that to make a difference. So that has always been my motivation.
Mm-hmm. You know, gentlemen, when we listen to Mrs. Ricketts-Graham's story, the question then begs itself. We have ministries of youth and ministries that deal with individuals such as herself involved in the economy as the way she is. What kind of support mechanism, and I'm asking you two gentlemen because you have a whole lot of experience in this, what kind of support, when you hear what is taking place here now, and these are the persons who we should be placating and putting on a pedestal, what are the kind of support in the system that would engender this process to sell it to other youth that the possibilities exist? Well, isn't this what we want?
It is what we want, and we're fortunate. I mean, the very fact that Phelisa has been able to, despite those circumstances, achieve what she has. Studying for 2 master's degrees is no small endeavor. It itself is an indication of widespread support, both by her family and her friends, her own impetus, as well as the state. The education at Westwood is a highly subsidized one. Church Teachers College similarly. So there is that institutional backup. Now, does it need to be more replete? It does. And let me say that although I don't think we've yet approached a fulsome arrangement for tertiary financing, it was a suggestion that Mark Golding had made some time ago, and I'm so glad that Nigel Clark now is picking it up, that students on PATH will not require a guarantor for their student loans. Okay, that's great. The state must say to the PATH student, we believe in you enough, right, that we're going to advance you and expect that you will be responsible. So it's there. Does it need to be more? Does it need to reach South Trelawney? It does. You know, but we are better than many countries where that doesn't exist at all.
Indeed.
You know what? Phelisa Graham, that what has been on my mind when you're going through your story. I'm comparing you with the stories we get about the girls in Iran and Afghanistan.
Yes.
Oh God in heaven. Give thanks for Jamaica, you know, miss.
So we're making a lot of progress, and I have to congratulate that. And as you mentioned, the state, I was actually in state care at one point in my life for a few when I was in high school, just going through my challenges just the same. And in addition to that, I've gotten a lot of support in terms of even my tertiary education. In addition to the subsidization, as you mentioned, I also received that special scholarship. So there are initiatives that are there. If it weren't for that scholarship, I honestly can tell you that I don't think it would have been possible for me to fully finish college, to get my first degree, to start teaching and actually get all of that experience. And even high school, my teachers were there. So teachers, they are such a backbone as well, the government as well. So it's more working together. How can we work together with teachers, with principals, with education officers, with the ministry, with private organizations, to give our students the best so that Jamaica can continue to shine worldwide in education.
I love your spirit. Tell me now, your school is a private school, is it?
Yes, it is.
So you draw your student body from what communities, in what way, and you obviously have to collect fees from them. Is that it? Can you be viable?
Right now, what we do, we basically promote our offers to parents worldwide. We have most of our students here from Jamaica, though, but we do have Caribbean students.
Good.
So we promote the offer in terms of this excellent STEM education, right? So we have been promoting it, but financial challenge has been the main one that we have been facing. So in terms of being viable, support is what we need, just to save. So we need support in more ways, but we're actually trying to do as best as we can with what we have. In terms of Trelawney, the face-to-face location is there. It's the same thing in terms of the socio-economic conditions.
I would have thought, yes.
You know, in Trelawney, yes. We're developing parish.
Yeah. But that's important. Give us a dream before time runs out on us. So where do you see STEM education? Where do you see a private educational combine like you have? Very interesting. Early childhood, primary, preparatory, and high. Where do you see that 5-10 years time? What's your dream?
So 5-10 years time, we're definitely adding a university to it. That's something that we're working on. We want to be at all levels of education, but the ultimate dream is to be able to impact students locally, internationally in STEM education, pushing them. We also want to partner with the Ministry of Education, with the government, so that we can have different STEM programs even in our existing public high schools, public prep schools, public early childhood schools. So that's what we want to do. We want to expand STEM education so that it can be more advanced right here in Jamaica, the Caribbean, and the world.
Before we close, you have the platform now where you have the benefit of an international audience, and no doubt you seek partnership, you seek help, etc., etc. There are groups in the United States that are involved in education, also in education investments. What is it you want to say to that audience right now?
So what I want to say to that audience is that Western STEM Academy is here. We have a really good thing going on. Our students are doing amazing. Our programs are excellent. We're starting from the grassroots level where we're teaching students the basics in mathematics, language arts, and it's doing well. Our major challenge is financial challenges. So we're seeking that if anyone within the diaspora, within Jamaica, you are serious about helping our society to get better, we have to start with our students, and that's education. So we welcome all partnerships. We're welcoming investors, sponsors who want to come on board with us to make this vision a reality.
What's your age group of entrance, Mrs. Graham?
For students?
Yes.
So we're actually, right now we start at 6 years old to 18 years old. However, for September, the early childhood will be back. So that will be from 3 years old right up to 18 years old.
And how people listening right now, how do they get in contact with you? And I know that young people in the virtual space share. How do we get in contact with you?
So in terms of my contacts, my number is 876-886-3850.
Repeat that, please. Repeat that.
So it's 876-886-3859.
And is there a website or any social media tags?
Yeah. So our website is westernstemacademy.com. Our Instagram is at westernstem_academy. And we're on all social media platforms, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. We are there. So you can just reach out to us. Email is westernstemacademy2020. So that's westernstemacademy2020@gmail.com.
And what's your address? What's your address? Where are you located?
8 Duke Street in Falmouth, Trelawney.
Can you imagine? That's
All
great
right.
news.
Yes,
that's really great news.
All
Listen,
right.
we wish you well. I need to tell you that in the history of private, history of educational development, schools take a good while to start up. It involves a whole heap of holding your breath and burning the midnight oil.
Yeah.
But you persevere, and good will come from it.
All right.
Happy
All the
to
best.
speak with you. Grateful for your company.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you for having me here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And for your work.
Jamaica, the Diaspora, New York. I'm really grateful to be here and continue to have a wonderful day.
Yes, cousin Ricketts.
Yeah. All right.
Mrs. Phelisa Ricketts-Graham of the STEM Academy. Erwin, you know, there's something mystical and almost haunting about that interview.
Indeed.
If Trelawney, Falmouth, and this lady boldly speaks about extending to upper university education.
That's right. That's right.
No. I mean, it to some it may seem adventurous. Of course, it's adventurous, but not speculative.
Well, that's most of universities. Most of universities. That's how most of the universities start.
Well, indeed. This is the point, and I just love risk takers and people who just do things. Let's take the break and come back and reflect on how things go. This is a Global Connection with Erwin Clare at Ira Jam and the Public Eye with Pearnel Charles and myself on the bridge in Jamaica. Erwin, you there?
Yes, sir. And by the way, gentlemen, I have a burning issue.
Tell us.
So we saw this article last week about marijuana exports, and I'm always excited when I see marijuana exports because I feel it's marijuana leaving Jamaica to the world because the world is excited about our stuff. But then it was not that way, gentlemen. It was marijuana being imported into Jamaica. It has caused a kind of a barnstorm here.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
because, sir, there are people here in New York who now can walk down Flatbush Avenue or even Jamaica Avenue or even less than a mile from me here and walk into a shop and get marijuana. That's where the world has gone today. As you know, Jamaicans have been at the forefront of the quest for legalization of marijuana and all that kind of stuff. But it seems that in many people's minds that somehow Jamaica has gotten left behind. And then to hear the story about marijuana being imported into Jamaica, it raised a lot of eyebrows and a lot of persons were kind of antsy about it. And we just wanted to have some clarity on that because it is of major concern.
Let me tell you that I am not a supporter of the use of marijuana. I've never been able to do it.
Even for medical purposes.
No. I wouldn't be opposing to medical.
Oh, okay.
But imagine, I'm talking about those who, kill themselves with it. But what you're talking about, the importation, the minister has come to say that it's a trade agreement between Jamaica and Canada. And so Canada is going to export and going to import.
No. You said Canada is going to export. And then
not import.
No, hold on.
I didn't hear about the import part.
Well,
in fact, that's...
I saw figures that they said like 240 tons and only go from Jamaica to Canada. And 4 tons come from Canada.
No, well, it's not not even 4 tons. The minister said, Erwin, that it's only 40 pounds.
40 pounds.
That has been.
Well, in other words, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm not concerned about the imports. That is too small. And if you're telling me that it is needed for research or for blending or whatever, I don't think we should worry. What the big question that arises is you have to tell me whether the people on Flatbush Avenue or Jamaica Avenue are getting Jamaican weed, okay? And we have a big question to ask that 5, 7 years now, 8 years now after the decriminalization for medical marijuana and certain other uses, unless frankly for a whole heap of recreational use, why is it that Jamaica is not earning some good dollars? Something wrong.
But hold on, who is wrong with it?
No, I'm not blaming anybody. I just want to know.
No, it's wrong with you, the people who must plant it and export it. Not with me.
No,
it's
a licensing.
It's not a government business.
No, it is, because the Cannabis License Authority.
But the government has made the license and the contact you can get license to export and license to import.
The concern is that the getting of the license is very complex and very expensive.
I'm not able to tell you about that.
Yeah. And the minister said, to his credit, that they're going to do things differently and do things better. So it's not the import so much. Tell your people, Erwin, that to bring them out. It is the fact that we have in fact missed the boat, at least up to now. So we have a hope that we can catch a Black Star liner, you know.
Yeah.
But Randy, let me listen to this. I don't know of any investor in Jamaica was gone into ganja. It's still the little countryman and the little
no man, it's a reverse.
I hear some big money gone.
It's reverse. It's only the only person with big bucks can afford those licenses.
But hold on now.
Yeah.
Hold on now. You need to tell me, you guys who know. I don't know.
Okay.
It's the same ganja that is up in the hills.
I don't know.
Well, no.
I'm no business with that.
No, but is it the Jamaican ganja that the Chinese man, that the Rasta man make up a sentence?
Must have said.
Listen. It won't be the same though if those strains keep coming into Jamaica and mixing it. It won't be the same.
No.
So that's another situation because here's my argument. Here's my argument. And we have heard this time and time ago. I found out, I know what ganja is when I came to the United States because I saw it. I never see it in Jamaica because my parents gave it to me as a medicine, but it's usually in the dark. But listen to this now. There is a crave for the product. There is countries in the world and states here in the United States that balances their budgets on marijuana trade.
Colorado.
Yeah, California, many others.
Oh.
All right.
Is it the ganja that me and you know we have a certain?
Yeah.
No, but the leaf of the ganja that I see coming over is a big thing, bigger than.
I would imagine it's Jamaican ganja. That's what
we had the hope 5-10 years ago that if you decriminalize this thing, Jamaica was going to have one big export potential like remittance
and you,
or tourism.
Mr. Ronnie Thwaites, went ahead and decriminalize ganja,
which I still, which you warned against,
and which I warned you against.
You did, and I persisted, and
I was influenced mostly by religion and the fact that my mother and father never smoked.
Yeah, but I don't think
somebody tell me to tell you in Parliament, you're not going to mash up the boys in school.
No,
and see what happened.
See what happened, and I can tell you what went wrong. But the key thing now is to Erwin's question: does the ganja industry in Jamaica have a future?
Well, unless some big man take it over on the future, because
that's terrible though.
But Ronnie, the little man don't have no contact.
Well,
somebody need to take
Minister Hill say he's going to do mother farms, or not he's going to do, but they are going to encourage mother farms where the small man can take his crop and sell it and get a money. And that it can be processed in a combined way. That has a logic to it. I do not know whether it's really going to be able to do it. A lot of the steam has gone out of the prospect. Let's put it that way.
I don't follow you. What you mean by that?
Well, no, people not so hot on it anymore.
No hot pangans.
No. Well, I'll tell you this. New York State will make a whole lot of money this year from the ganja dispensaries they have now signed up here.
Really? And what is it doing to? Well, here's
they're putting their training and their
what we said we were going to do is to educate people alongside decriminalization.
Yes.
I opposed or did not go along with my senior colleague here because I believe that there are certain things the criminal law cannot prescribe or ought not to. But I do not support the use of this to mash up boy head, which it can do.
It can do. It has been doing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I accept that.
Still,
so as white rum. So as white rum. So as white rum in Jamaica.
This excitement, Irwin.
Yes.
The government of the past, whether PNP or JP, the government, bring legalization to this thing. This present government now has to put in a law that if they catch you driving and smoking, they lock you up. Now, the taxmen them, when them go around you, everybody have a button in their mouth, you know. Let me tell you something. My father wasn't wrong. My mother was wrong. Stay away from that.
I agree.
All right. And cigarettes as well.
And cigarettes.
And never smoke.
And rum too. But anyway, gentlemen,
the prohibitionists are rearing their head. 1920s again. Erwin Clare, thank you for your company on the Global Connection.
Yes, sir. Would that prohibition includes books as well? But anyway.
Go ahead. Thanks so much for being with us. Blessings to all of you in the diaspora from us on the Public Eye and the Bridge 99 FM. And thanks, as usual, to all of our team here, to Lafayne, to all our guests. My goodness, I have to remember them. The Ambassador Curtis Ward, who was with us during the first section of the program, and the very interesting Mrs. Phelisa Ricketts-Graham, and to all of those who are on our technical team, Jeffrey Brown, Kevin Williams, and the entire production team here at the Bridge 99. Next week, we'll join you, live spare, God willing, on Wednesday on the Public Eye.
And we'll be interviewing you completely next week.
You are in charge of me. Thank you so much. Till we meet again.